Hey, my name is Katy Chandler, and I'm here to teach you how to plant potatoes here in Reno, Nevada. And the first question is, when do you plant them? And so it's the middle of May right now. I've chosen to plant mine around May 1st because I get late frosts. You might in this region be able to plant them as early as the very end of March or the beginning of April. The question that you have to ask yourself is, when will the greens come out? Because if they get frozen, then your plants are not as healthy. So for me, I'm planting them later because I have late frosts in this garden in particular. So that's when. The next is, what do you plant? And I'm gonna show you some options. I like to plant whole potatoes, and this is about the size that I like. My hands are shaky today, sorry. They're about like that. These I'm not gonna plant because they're not sprouted yet. You could, there's nothing to say you couldn't plant them, but it'll take a long time to come out of the ground. So I like to plant them once they've been, have eyes on them. And that's what these are right here, you'll see. These are just the potato itself sprouting out. And what I like to do, this one is a little small, so I wouldn't personally plant this. Well, that's not true. Sometimes I run out of potatoes and I end up planting a slightly smaller than I would like to plant. But what I do when I have a potato like this, I have several eyes, maybe I'll even have a dozen eyes. I like to pop the eyes off so that I just end up with 2 or maybe 3 eyes. That's what those little guys are called. So now, how do we plant them? Oh, and I will give a nod. Most people take bigger potatoes and cut them up into pieces and dry the potatoes and plant them that way. I don't do that, so I'm not going to teach you how to do it, but there's tons of YouTube videos out there to learn how to do it that way. So I'm going to start with my potato, and I'm going to go to my bed, which I just pulled the irrigation off. What I'm doing now is just getting the mulch, which keeps the bed kind of cooler and less drying out in the heat of this spring. And now I'm going to plant, and the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to dig a hole, and if I were planting a whole row, I would dig them about a foot apart from each other. The thing is that everything that grows off of this potato, this is called the seed potato. All of the potatoes that grow off of this potato are going to grow above the potato. So you need to dig deep enough so that your seed potato is below enough ground so you get plenty of other potatoes in the process. So okay. Now I've already done this to the bed. I've already added a lot of compost. You definitely want to add compost. Like right now, what I would do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to make sure the eyes points up. You know, potatoes are pretty smart, they'll figure it out, but I just like to be a little nicer, help them out. And so I dig pretty deep, you can see like that. And then I place the potato in it. If I needed to, I would toss a handful of compost on top. But since I've already taken care of that, all I'm gonna do is bonk, put that back on. And I'm patting it down so the potato knows, okay, this is my home, this is where I'm gonna start growing. But I'm not patting it so hard that the little guy can't get his or her green on up. So what's going to happen is those eyes are going to grow up out of the soil. They'll become a really beautiful green plant that sometimes actually has a really lovely purple or white flower on it. It's really nice. And then in the fall, or well, it kind of depends on your area, but maybe early fall, or even into later fall, depending on the variety of potato, the plant will start to die back, and it'll eventually die all the way to the ground. That's what it's supposed to do. So it's not until that point that I start digging up the potatoes. There is a way that you can kind of rob a potato or two early on by just kind of putting your hand in here and grabbing a little potato before the whole plant is ready. But in general, I wait till, until the plant's died back. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put my irrigation on. If you don't have irrigation, no biggie. You're gonna water by hand, but potatoes do need a decent amount of water, so you wanna pay attention to that. And I'm just getting these here. I'm just putting those there, and then super important, I'm mulching. And there's lots of different mulches you can use. I use straw because I have an easy access to that. You can use leaves that are dried and kind of ground up a little bit. You can use old garden stuff, old plants. But in any case, you really want to cover it because, like I said, potatoes need good moisture. They'll grow much better, bigger plants than potatoes if you do. And the mulch really helps to keep that moisture and coolness inside. So yeah, good luck. You can plant now, no worries at all. Plant right now in the next week or so and you'll be set. Okay, take